Hey, so today we're working on this Ford Edge, and we're doing rear brakes. A lot of Fords on the rear brakes, they have calipers that you actually have to turn the piston in because the parking brake is built into the caliper, and those are kind of a pain in the butt. But this one actually just has a standard type of caliper. Just push it in. I mean, you can use like a C-clamp, or you can use a normal brake caliper piston tool or something. And always double check that the parts are correct, ideally before you get everything disassembled. Just try that rotor on. Looks the same. And compare the brake pads. They look the same. Looks like the caliper slide pin bolts are a 14. You need a wrench for that one. Whoops. It kind of helps if you have this in. Alright, and then the caliper bracket bolts, these guys can be pretty tight. Well, these ones aren't that tight. And usually you gotta hit these guys with a hammer to get them off a lot of times. And when you get your new rotors, you should always clean them off pretty well with some brake clean, because they come with like a film of oil on them to prevent corrosion. But if you don't clean it off before you start driving, then basically your brakes won't work very well until the oil burns off. And that can take a few minutes, and it'll be all smoking off and smelling and shit. So best to just clean them off first. And there'll always be like a little bit of oil left on it until you drive, but This is just the best practice. And it works best to do this with like a paper shop towel instead of a rag, because rags, they have a lot of lint and it all gets stuck in the rotor. The towels don't really leave any lint. Stick that guy on. And don't forget your little rubber plug. Pop these guys out and check them. Then a lot of times when you buy new brake pads, they'll come with new clips. But my experience is that most of the time the clips, if you put them in, then the pads won't really fit because they're never shaped right. So I mean, you can try them. If I was doing it at work, I wouldn't care, but this is like a side job, so I want the customer to be happy. So we'll give it a try. You should check your old pads to see if there's like a squeaker, which would be like a sort of just a metal tab that would stick out like here or here. Because if there is, you have to make sure you orient it right. But these pads don't have them. Increase these guys. Got zoomed way in. There you go. Alright, tighten this guy's back up. And make sure they're nice and tight because you don't want these falling off. Oh no, here, just trying to show you guys this, but my memory card ran out on the other side. So for the calipers, yeah, if you do it just like the DIY way of using a C-clamp. But if you're gonna do a lot, brakes, you get one of these guys, and it takes about 10% of the time. Now if you push your piston and you see the boot is all puffing out like that, sorry, it's kind of hard to get a good shot. You gotta burp the air out of it. Sometimes it's kind of annoying. There you go. Alright, let's see how that's all in now. Because if you just left it all puffed out, then when you put it back together, that boot was sticking out, and then you press on the brakes, the piston comes out and it can pinch and tear the boot against the back of the brake pad. And then your caliper is going to seize up, so that's no good. And then I'll just take some brake cleaner and blast this off. You don't have to be like OCD about it, get out all the dirt, but just like to kind of blast off the loose stuff. And then put some grease on the part of the caliper that's going to contact the pad, so just the face of the piston, and then the ears like that. Yeah, so those caliper bracket bolts, which are the big 15mm bolts I showed you in here, you have to make those pretty fucking tight. But now these bolts, which are for the caliper slide pins, I mean, you saw they're not very big, so you don't want to over tighten them because you can just strip them out, break them. I mean, you want them snug because they can fall out too, but just don't go like super hardcore on them. Then, as the repair manuals love to say, installation is the same as disassembly in reverse. When you put the wheel on, the torque spec is about 100 foot-pounds for the lug nuts. And make sure you pump the brakes before you back up, or else you will be in for a surprise. You might even pee yourself a little bit. And make sure you test drive it. Okay, thanks. I hope this was helpful.